Hello and welcome to the first video lesson of the Excel course. I am Sumit Bansal, and in this video we will learn about getting started with Excel. For the purpose of recording these videos, I have used Excel 2013, but if you have earlier versions such as 2010 or 7, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. Almost all the features that I would cover in this course are also available in 2007 and 2010. There are, however, some new features introduced in 2013, and I will highlight it whenever I talk about it. Now let's get started. The very first thing that I want to cover in this course is the Excel structure. So this is what you would see when you open a new workbook in Excel 2013. As of now, the title or the name of this workbook is Book 1, but if you save this with some other name, then that name appears here. On the right, I have these 5 options. At the extreme right, I have this cross which would close this workbook. I have the option to restore down. If I click on it, this would reduce the size of this window. I can click on it again to go back to the original size. I have the option to minimize this workbook. Here is an option where you get more flexibility on how the tabs and ribbons are shown. And then there is the Microsoft Excel help, which can also be accessed using the keyboard shortcut F1. On the left here you have the quick access toolbar. So this area is called the quick access toolbar, where I have 3 options: save as, undo and redo. Now quick access toolbar, as the name suggests, gives you very quick access to a lot of options so that it is easy for a user to perform certain operation or use a feature by just clicking on it here. I would show you later in this video on how to customize quick access toolbar. Below these options we have the tabs. So I have tabs such as File, Home, Insert. If you look at the File tab, you would see the backstage view of Excel, where you get a lot of options: information on the workbook, opening a new workbook, saving it and printing it. I would go back by hitting Escape. And there are a lot of tabs at the right of File tab. I have Home, Insert, Page Layout, Formulas, Data, Review and View tab. This feature of tabs and ribbon was introduced in Excel in 2007, in the 2007 version, and this was a major enhancement because it makes it really easy for a user to access these commands. If you go to the Home tab, you can see that there are groups of options. So here I have the clipboard group, where there are 4 icons that would do things related to the clipboard. Similarly, I have the font group, where all these options would pertain to the font feature in Excel. Similarly, I have alignment, number, styles within Home. If you go to Insert, you would have all these options that are related to Insert, and within that you would have these groups such as tables, illustrations, apps and all. You can see that these groups are divided by a vertical line. Below this ribbon we have the name box. In the name box, you would see the address of the current selected cell. So for example, if I go and select this cell, then you would see the address of this cell, which is C3. There are a lot of more things you can do using the name box, which I would cover later in this video course. On the right of the name box, we have the formula bar. In the formula bar, you can either type something. So for example, if I type Trump Excel, you can see that whatever I type in formula bar get inserted in the cell that is selected. On the contrary, if you type something here, so for example, if I type Excel is awesome, it would also be visible in the formula bar, and I can go and edit this text or all the data which is there in the cell using the formula bar. Also, a formula can be inserted within a cell using the formula bar, or it can be edited here. Below the formula bar, we have this area which is called the work area, and this is made up of a number of rows and columns. So for example, I have these columns A, B, C, D and so on and so forth. You would have a lot of columns up to XFD. If you're wondering how I went to the end of this sheet, I used a keyboard shortcut Control right arrow, and you can come back by using Control left arrow. Similarly, we have a lot of rows here. So for example, if I go down, I can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4. These are rows that make up the work area, and we have more than 1 million rows in Excel 2013. So this would constitute the work area, where you would probably spend most of your time, because this holds the data in Excel, and this is made up of different cells. Now each cell would have a unique address. So for example, if I select this cell, this would be column B and row 7. So this cell would become B7. And as I said, the address of this cell would be visible in the name box. If I go here, then this would be F9, because this is column F and row number 9. Below the work area, we have this gray strip where you would see the sheets in Excel. So for example, here I have only one sheet, worksheet, which is sheet 1, but a workbook can contain a lot of worksheets. So for example, here I can add another worksheet, and these would get added here, and you can access these worksheets from here. If you have a lot of worksheets, say for example 20, 30 or 100 worksheets, then you can use these arrow keys to access these worksheets by making them visible. So for example, if I had say 30 and it is not visible here, I can use these arrow keys. On the right, I have this horizontal scroll bar that can be used for navigating in Excel. Similarly, I have a vertical scroll bar that can be used for navigating in the rows. Below this gray strip, I have this green strip which says ready as of now. This is the mode in which Excel is currently. So for example, if I go and double click on any of the cell, you can see that the mode changes from ready to enter. There are different modes that you would see in Excel, which could be either ready, enter, edit or point, and that would tell you instantly that if you are editing a cell, then that would be in the edit mode. So for example, if I type here something, you can see that this is now in the ready mode. This is to record macros, this button, and we will talk about it more later in this video course. Also, I want to show you something. If I type some data here, say 1, 2, 3. Now have a look at the area here when I select this data. As soon as I select this data, this gives me some statistics such as average of this data set, count and sum. So these are certain statistics that get populated as soon as you select a numerical database. I also have these options to select the way this worksheet is being displayed as of now. As of now, it is in the normal mode, but I can set the page layout view or the page break preview. You also have this option to zoom in and zoom out in this worksheet. So for example, if I use this slider, then I can see that I have a lot more cells visible as of now as compared to when it was at 100%. At max, you can go up to 400%, and you can go up to 10% on the lower side. So these are all the components in Excel 2013 which you would see when you open a workbook. Now let's talk about how you can navigate in the work area in Excel. There are various ways you can navigate in the work area in Excel. One of the easiest way is using the mouse. So you can just go to any of these cells and click on it and it gets selected. If you want to move to the right of these columns, then you can use these scroll bars and you can go and select a cell there, or you can move down by using the vertical scroll bar. You can also use the keyboard shortcuts, so you can use the right arrow, left arrow key, up arrow key and down arrow key to navigate in this work area in Excel. If you quickly want to move around the work area, there are certain keyboard shortcuts that you can use. One is page up and page down. So see what happens when I hit page down. It takes me to row number 24. So I was at row number 1 and it takes me to row number 24, which means that it skips 23 rows at a time. So if I hit page down again, it would again skip 23 rows and bring me to 47. So this could be one quick way to move down these rows. Similarly, if you want to go up, you can use page up key. If you want to move to the right of these columns, then you can use the keyboard shortcut Alt page down. And when I hit Alt page down, then it takes me to column T from column A. And again, if I hit page down, it takes me to column AM. Similarly, if I want to move to the left, I can use Alt page up. So this is a quick way to move around in Excel using keyboard shortcuts. If you have to navigate through the worksheets, again, one of the easiest ways is to use your mouse and you can select the worksheet wherever you want to go. But in case there are a lot of worksheets which are in your workbook and it's not available, you can use these arrow keys. So for example, if you have 30 or 50 or 100 worksheets, then you can use arrow key to first make them visible and then select them using the mouse. You can also use the keyboard shortcut Control page up and page down to move through these worksheets. So for example, if I hit Control page down, then you can see that I'm moving to the sheet which is to the right of the current sheet. So for example, if I hit Control page down, it would move from sheet 2 to sheet 3, and similarly it would move to the right. I can move to the left of these sheets by using the shortcut Control page up, so it would move to the left of the current worksheet. If you have a lot of data on your worksheet, then you can also use this slider to zoom out, which would make a lot of cells visible on the screen. Then you can select the data set. Similarly, you can zoom in when you're done. You can also use the keyboard shortcut control, and if you have a mouse with a wheel on it, then you can use that wheel while the control key is pressed so that it would zoom in and zoom out. Another way you can navigate in the worksheet is using the name box. So for example, if you want to move to cell D100, then you can type that address here and just press enter, and this would take you to the cell D100. Similarly, if you want to go to say some cell AM120, then you can just type the address and hit enter key, and it will take you to that cell. So this is a very quick way to move to a cell where you may have something like a total of a table or a value that is using in a formula or something. Then you can quickly move to that cell by using the name box as well. Now let's learn more about the ribbon and tabs feature in Excel. One of the major enhancements that was introduced in Excel 2007 was the tabs and ribbon feature, and it makes it really easy for anyone to access these options within each tab. So for example, if I look at insert, I would have all these options which are related to insert. Similarly, if I look at formulas, then I have all these options that are related to formulas. Within each tab, I have these groups. So for example, I have function library group within formulas, and it holds all these options that are related to function library. Similarly, I have defined names group, which hold all these options for defined names. Each of these groups are separated by vertical lines. Now there are different kind of options available in this ribbon. There could be buttons that do something when you click on it. So for example, if I type 123 here, and you can see this is a cell and I want to give a border to this cell. So I go to home, and within home in the font group, I have this option to give a border. I select on it and it would give a border to this cell. And this is the function of this button. As soon as you select it, it does something. But there could also be toggle buttons which would do something, and if you click on it again, then it would undo itself. So for example, if I write 123 here and I go to home alignment and I click on center alignment, as soon as I click on it, it makes my text or the number aligned to the center. But it is a toggle button. If I click on it again, it would revert that. So there could be options which does something. When you click on it, there could be options which are like a toggle button. There are also drop downs in this. So for example, I have this drop down for formatting, and here I can select a number format, and as soon as I do this, it gets changed, and again I can have the drop down and change this to something else. Another very useful feature in Excel is the quick access toolbar. As I mentioned, by default it has these three options: the save button, the undo button, and the redo button. And you have a small arrow here, and if you click on it, you would get access to a lot more options. So you can see there are many options here that I can add to the quick access toolbar. As the name suggests, this is very quick access that a user can get. This is always available, and you can click on it and it would do whatever that icon says. So for example, in this case, it would undo whatever I've done. If I click on it, it would undo the formatting. Also, you can see there are two options at the end of this drop down which says more commands and show below the ribbon. More commands has to do more with customizing this quick access toolbar, where you can add more buttons. I would show you later in this video how to do this, but this is the option I want to talk about, which is show below the ribbon. If you click on it, this quick access toolbar gets displayed below the ribbon. But there is no apparent reason I would want to do this, because first of all, this would acquire a lot more area in my worksheet, and I would see one row less as compared to when this was at the top. So for example, have a look here. I have row number 22 highlighted, and when I select and say show above the ribbon, I have one more row visible. So you can keep it here, but if you want to put it down below the ribbon, if you think that makes it easier for you to access options, then you can use that option as well. While we already have a lot of options available in the ribbon and tabs, if you think that you would need more controls for a particular feature, then there are two ways you can go about it. First is the dialog box. So for example, if I am in the home tab and I want to get more control over the font property, then I can click on this dialog box launcher, and as soon as I click on it, it opens the format cells dialog box. This would have a lot more options as compared to the ribbon, because this is the entire range of options that is available to a user to perform these actions within the format cell's purview. So for example, if I want to talk about font and if I want to change anything, these are all these options available to a user. So one of the ways to get more control and more access to more options is by using the dialog box. And for each of these groups, you can use this dialog box launcher, this tilted arrow, to display the dialog box. Another feature which has been used in 2013 is the task pane. So for example, if I go to insert and I insert a picture, this picture, and I want to play with this picture, change it a bit, I already have some options available, but if I need more control, I can right click and select format picture, and as soon as I do this, I have this task pane available. Earlier in 2010 or 2007, this would have been a dialog box, but in this case in 2013, nothing changes except the fact that this task pane is available, with one minor thing, that this is available for the entire time you are doing an operations. For example, if I want to add say a shadow to this, and while I am doing this, this pane would be available, so you do not need to click OK or do anything. As soon as you make the selection, it would be visible here. So this gives you more control and more flexibility while working with options. While a lot of options are already available using the tabs and ribbon in Excel, not everything is there, and you may want to add a few new functionalities to the ribbon or to the tab. So let me show you how you can customize the ribbon. Right click on any of the tab, go and right click on any of the tab, and you have this options where you see customize the ribbon. Click on this option and it opens the Excel options dialog box. Now on the left at the top you have these commands, so it would say popular commands. You can select all commands and this would display all these options that are available in Excel. On the right you can see your existing tab list. So for example, you see I have home, insert, page, and you can even go and edit these by their groups. So for example, if I have this developer tab which is not, as of now, which is not visible, I can go and select this, and when I click OK, this tab gets available, and now I can see that there are a lot of options available within the developer tab. But if you want to say create your own tab, then you can also do that. Right click again and click on customize the ribbon. Here select all commands, and in the customize the ribbon option, go and click on new tab, and this would insert a new tab for you. You can go and rename this tab. So for example, I say I want to name this Trump Excel favorites. I would use the shorthand code, and I click OK, and now it has created a tab which says Trump Excel favorite. Now you can also go and create a new group. So for example, I rename this group and I can insert an icon if I want, and I would say analysis, and I click OK. So now you can see that I have a tab which says Trump Excel favorite, and within that I have a group which says analysis, and I would hit OK. And as soon as I do that, you can see I have Trump Excel favorite as one of the tab, and within that I have this group analysis. Now I can add icons to it. I would again go to customize the ribbon, and here within analysis I would select any of these commands. So for example, let me randomly select any of the command, let's say copy, and I add, and this gets added to the analysis group. Similarly, I can add another options. I'm randomly selecting any of these options, and I click OK. And as soon as I do this, you can see that I have Trump Excel favorites, and within analysis I have all these options. So in case you want to create your own tab, or there are some options which are either not available in the existing ribbon, or you want to get together a set of options and put it in one group, then you can use this customize the ribbon feature. Similarly, you can also customize the quick access toolbar, and this is really handy when you have to add options which you frequently use. So for example, I would show you, just right click here and again go to customize quick access toolbar option. It would again open the same Excel option box, but instead of your tabs and ribbon, here now you see a list of quick access toolbar options. Again, if you want to add anything, say I want to add cut or maybe center. So I usually keep alignment options here, and I want to align center, then I would go click add and hit OK. And as soon as I do this, I have this option here now available. Now, whenever I have to center align a text, I would just go and click on Quick Access Toolbar, because this would always be visible. If I compare it to using it in the ribbon, I would first have to go to Home tab and then go and select this option. So it is really handy to add a few options in your Quick Access Toolbar, for which you would always have access very quickly. So this is how you can customize a ribbon or Quick Access Toolbar to add options that you frequently use. You would often hear the word active cell when you talk about Excel, and the concept is that at one point of time you can edit only one cell. So for example, if I want to type something here, say I want to type Trump Excel, I can only type this in one cell at a time. I cannot type this at the same time in 3 cells. So this is the concept of active cell, that there would only be one cell that is active. Even if you have a range of cells available, if you select all these cells, even in this case there would only be one active cell, and the address of this active cell is always visible in the name box. So while I'm selecting these cells, you can see that in the name box it would show me how many rows and columns I'm selecting, but as soon as I'm done selecting, it would show me the address of the active cell. So in this case F4 is the active cell. One last thing that I want to cover in this introductory video is how you can access the ribbon using the keyboard shortcuts. As soon as you hit Alt key, you can see that there are these alphabets that appear up at the tabs and in Quick Access Toolbar. So in Quick Access Toolbar you have these numbers, but in case of tabs you have these alphabets. So here I have H for home, and now if I hit H, I would have access to all these options, and there are these alphabets again for these options. So for example, if I want to use the cut option, then I can simply press X. If I want to use the font color property, then I can use FC. So for example, let me show you. If I type Trump Excel here and I want to access the font color property, I would hit Alt HFC, and as soon as I do this, I would have these options available where I can use the keyboard shortcut to do this. Now this may look like a lot of effort, but believe me, when you start using keyboard shortcuts, you would become much more efficient and fast in working with Excel. That's it in this video. I hope you found this useful. Thank you and have a nice day.